The great arena floated in space, a shining circle surrounded by stars. Thousands of eyes watched from many planets as warriors from different alien species gathered to fight for the biggest prize in the galaxy. This was the Galactic Tournament, a contest that happened once every 10 years. The winner would be granted the favor of the Alien Queen, ruler of the great empire that controlled many star systems. The tournament was fierce. Fighters from icy worlds, fiery planets, and dense jungles came with one goal: to win the Queen's reward. Many had tried before, but none knew exactly what the reward was. The Queen never spoke about it openly. Some thought it was power, others believed it was a rare treasure, and some guessed it was a secret weapon. In the middle of the arena, the final battle was about to begin. Two champions stood ready, one from the planet Soreth, known for their strength, and another from the desert world Xerix, famous for their speed. But before the fight could start, a sudden announcement echoed through the arena, surprising everyone. The Alien Queen's voice, deep and clear, filled the space. "Bring me a human." There was silence. The crowd gasped. A human? Why would the Queen want a human? Humans were few in number and lived far from the Empire's center. They were considered weak, not worthy of attention. Many aliens had never even seen a human in real life. Whispers spread quickly. Why a human? What could the Queen want with them? Is this a trick? The champions looked at each other, confused and curious. The tournament was supposed to end with a winner claiming the prize, but now the Queen had changed the rules. Instead of a champion, she wanted a human brought to her. Meanwhile, far away on Earth, a young woman named Jara sat quietly in a small office. She worked as a diplomat, a person who talked to other planets and kept peace. Jara had heard stories about the Galactic Tournament, but never thought she would be part of it. Suddenly, a message arrived for her. It was an official summons from the Alien Queen herself. Jara's heart beat fast. Why her? Why now? She knew this could change everything for humanity. Back in the arena, the crowd waited anxiously. No one knew what would happen next. The Queen's demand had changed the galaxy's future, and everyone was watching to see what would come. The Alien Queen sat on her throne, her eyes glowing softly in the dark hall. She was ancient and powerful, with many secrets. Her voice had shaken the Empire today, and her desire for a human would start a story no one could forget. The news spread like wildfire. The Alien Queen wants a human. The message echoed through space stations, starships, and crowded markets on many planets. Everyone was talking about it, but no one understood why. In the busy spaceport of Zixar, a bustling city on a trade planet, aliens gathered around glowing screens. Traders, pilots, and soldiers stared in disbelief. Humans were rare, almost like legends. Most aliens had only seen humans in old history records or blurry images. Karn, a tall warrior from the frozen world of Vylos, shook his head. Why would the Queen want a human? Humans are weak. They have no power here. His friend, Lyra, a quick thinker from the jungle planet Thren, frowned. Maybe she knows something we don't. Maybe humans have a secret. Across the galaxy, in the grand halls of the Empire's capital, advisors and nobles debated fiercely. Some believed the Queen's demand was a trick to distract her enemies. Others feared it meant humans had something dangerous hidden. Meanwhile, on Earth, Jara stared at the strange message again and again. "The Alien Queen wants me," she whispered. She felt a mix of fear and excitement. Earth was quiet and small in the galaxy. Humans had stayed hidden for a long time to avoid trouble. But now, everything was changing. Jara packed her small bag and prepared for the journey. She had no idea what awaited her in the Queen's palace, but she knew this was her chance to show what humans could do. As her ship left Earth's atmosphere, news reached the aliens watching. Some sent spies to follow her. Others prepared for war, thinking the Queen's interest in humans might bring conflict. Back on the planet Xerix, the defeated champions of the tournament gathered. They whispered and planned. If the Queen wants a human, Maybe we can use that to our advantage, said Zorith, the strong warrior who lost in the final fight. We need to find that human first. On another distant world, secret agents moved quietly. They searched for humans hidden in space colonies and forgotten planets. No one knew why the Queen wanted a human, but everyone wanted to be the first to find one. The alien Queen watched all this from her dark throne room. Her eyes shone like stars, full of secrets. She was calm, confident. To her, humans were a puzzle, a mystery worth solving. She remembered the first time she saw humans through ancient records, how they fought for survival, how they hoped and dreamed, even when everything was against them. For centuries, she had waited for the right moment. Now, the moment was here. The Queen's choice was clear. She said quietly, "Bring me a human, and the galaxy will never be the same again." Jara sat quietly in the small room of her spaceship. The stars outside twinkled, but inside, her heart was full of questions and worries. She had never imagined leaving Earth like this, traveling far across the galaxy to meet the alien Queen herself. Her ship shook gently as it entered the great space station near the Queen's palace. The station was huge, full of strange creatures and machines. Aliens of every shape and size moved around, staring curiously at the small human woman. They whispered, "Why did the Queen want her? What could a human do?" Jara took a deep breath and stepped out of the ship. She was dressed simply, but her eyes showed courage. A tall, slender alien with blue skin and sharp eyes approached her. "I am Zethar, the Queen's messenger. Follow me," he said in a calm voice. Jara followed Zethar through long, shining halls filled with strange lights and symbols. The palace was like nothing she had ever seen. Massive columns, glowing floors, and statues of ancient creatures. Finally, they'd reached a large door. Zethar stopped and looked at Jara. "This is the Queen's chamber. She wishes to meet you now." Jara nodded. Her hands trembled, but she stepped forward and pushed the door open. Inside, the alien Queen sat on a throne that seemed to float above the ground. She was tall and graceful, with skin that shimmered like silver and eyes that glowed like stars. Her voice was calm, but powerful when she spoke. "Welcome, human," the Queen said. "I have watched your species for many years. You are different from others in this galaxy." Jara felt both nervous and proud. "I am honored to meet you, Your Majesty," she said carefully. "But why do you want me? What is special about humans?" The Queen smiled faintly. "Humans are unpredictable. You face danger with hope. You create, you dream, and you fight for more than just survival. Your spirit is rare." Jara thought about her life on Earth, about how humans struggled with problems but still found ways to build, to love, and to keep going. The Queen's eyes searched Jara's face. "I want you to help me understand your people. I want to see if humans can be a new strength for my empire." Jara felt a spark of determination. "I will do my best to represent humanity." Suddenly, alarms rang through the palace. Zethar hurried in. "Your Majesty, there are signs of trouble. Some factions do not like your choice." The Queen nodded. "I expected this. Humans are unknown to many, but change is coming." Jara realized she was not only a guest, but now part of a dangerous game. She had to be smart and brave if she wanted to survive and help her people. The Queen stood and looked out at the stars beyond the palace windows. "Tomorrow, you will begin your trials. These tests will show your worth to my court and the galaxy." Jara swallowed hard. The journey ahead was unknown, but she was ready to face it, for humanity and for herself. The days after the trials were filled with whispers and watchful eyes. Jara moved through the palace halls like a small light in a shadowed world. Some creatures smiled kindly, but many watched her with doubt. The alien Queen's court was a place of power and politics. Every word and action was noticed, and many were waiting for Jara to make a mistake. The humans were unknown to most, and that made them dangerous, or so the others thought. Jara knew she had to show more than just courage and wisdom. She needed to show the true strength of humanity. One afternoon, the queen called Jara to a private room filled with glowing crystals. The queen's voice was calm. "You have passed the first trials, but now comes a deeper test. You must live among my people, understand their fears and hopes." Jara nodded. She understood. It was one thing to face challenges alone, but another to connect with others who saw her as different. Over the next weeks, Jara traveled to different parts of the empire. She visited crowded cities full of strange sounds and colors, quiet villages where traditions ran deep, and harsh battlefields where scars of old wars remained. She met soldiers who had lost friends, scientists who dreamed of peace, and children who believed in the stars. Each meeting taught her more about the galaxy and the people who lived in it. In return, Jara shared stories of Earth, of human kindness, mistakes, and hope. Slowly, some began to see her not just as a strange visitor, but as a bridge between worlds. However, not all were ready to trust her. In secret meetings, groups plotted to remove the queen and end her fascination with humans. They called Jara a threat. One night, while walking in the palace gardens, Jara overheard two nobles talking. "The queen's choice will bring ruin," said one, his voice low. "If we act quickly, we can stop this madness," the other replied. Jara's heart raced. Danger was close, but she would not run. She decided to warn the queen. The next day, she found the alien queen in her chamber. Jara spoke carefully. "There are those who want to harm you because of me." The queen nodded slowly. "I expected no less. Trust is hard to win in a world built on power. But we must be ready," Jara said, "for their attacks and for the future." The queen smiled, a rare warmth in her eyes. "You have grown strong, human. Together, we will face what comes." Jara felt a new strength inside her. This was more than a test of courage. It was a fight for survival, for understanding, for a future where humans and aliens could stand side by side. The trials of humanity had just begun. The palace, which once seemed grand and safe, now felt like a place full of shadows. Jara knew that danger was near. The whispers she had overheard were true. There were those in the queen's court who wanted to remove the alien queen and end her interest in humans. One evening, as Jara walked through the quiet halls, she noticed strange figures moving in the dark corners. She was careful, but her heart pounded. The palace was no longer just a place of ceremony. It was a battlefield of secrets. Back in the throne room, the alien queen sat calmly, her eyes sharp, and the palace slowly returned to its usual rhythm, but the tension remained in the air. The failed attack on the queen had shaken many, yet it also showed the power of unity when trust was strong. Jara's place in the court was no longer questioned by the queen or her closest allies, but many still doubted the value of a human. Jara knew that words alone would not change minds. She needed to show what humans could do, the creativity and intelligence that set them apart. One morning, a problem arose in the palace's energy system. The great power core, which supplied energy to the entire empire's capital, began to fail. The lights flickered, and machines slowed. Panic spread quickly. Scientists and engineers gathered, but the problem was complicated. The energy system was ancient, built by alien technology centuries ago. No one understood it completely. Jara, remembering her training on Earth and her own curiosity, asked to see the power core's control room. The chief engineer, a tall alien with many eyes named Dralix, was surprised but agreed. Inside the control room, Jara studied the glowing panels and strange symbols. It was unlike anything she had seen before, but she noticed something, a simple pattern, like a language. She spent hours testing different switches and watching the effects. Slowly, she discovered a way to stabilize the core by changing a sequence of controls, something no one else had tried. "Try this," Jara suggested to Dralix. The engineer hesitated but then followed her instructions. The energy flow steadied, lights brightened, and the machines hummed back to life. The court watched in amazement. A human had saved the heart of their empire without violence or weapons, just with clever thinking. The alien queen smiled proudly. This is the power of humanity. Not strength, but creativity and intelligence. Word spread quickly. Aliens from different worlds came to see Jara, eager to learn how humans solved problems in new ways. But the success also brought new challenges. Some nobles, jealous of the attention Jara received, whispered that she was lucky or that the queen was blinded by hope. Jara ignored the whispers. She knew her path would not be easy, but she believed that humans and aliens could learn from each other. One evening, as she walked through the palace gardens, an elderly alien scientist approached her. "I have studied humans for many years," he said. "You have something rare, a mind that sees beyond the usual." Jara smiled. "Thank you. I want to help build a better future for all of us." The scientist nodded. "Then let us work together." That night, Jara looked at the stars and thought of Earth. She was far from home, but she felt a new hope. Her ingenuity was not just a gift. It was a key to change. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but with human creativity and the Queen's vision, a new era was beginning. The palace was quiet that evening, but the air felt heavy with meaning. Jara sat beside the alien queen in a room filled with soft light and shimmering walls. It was a rare moment of peace, far from the eyes and ears of the court. The queen looked at Jara with a gentle smile. "You have done well, human. You have proven your mind, your heart, and your courage." Jara felt a mix of pride and curiosity. "Thank you, Your Majesty. But why did you want a human in the first place? Why me?" The queen's eyes glowed softly as she began to speak. "For centuries, I watched many species in my empire. Each has strengths and weaknesses. But humans are different." She paused, then continued. "You survive where others give up. You hope when all seems lost. You create not just to live, but to dream." Jara listened carefully. The queen's words were true. Humans had faced many dangers on Earth, yet they had grown stronger, wiser. The queen stood and walked to a window that looked out into space. "My empire is old and tired. Many of my people have forgotten how to hope. They fight and compete, but they lack the fire that once made us great." She turned back to Jara. "I believe that by bringing the human here, I could find that fire again. You are not just a prize, you are a symbol." Jara felt the weight of the queen's trust. "I want to help. I want to bring hope and new ideas to your people." The queen nodded. "That is why I ask you to stay by my side, not just as a guest, but as an advisor. Together, we can change the future." Jara's heart raced. This was more than she had expected. To be a bridge between humans and an empire was a great honor and a great responsibility. But she also knew there would be challenges. Many still doubted humans, and some would never accept her role. The queen's voice softened. "I will protect you, but you must be strong. The path ahead will not be easy." Jara looked out at the stars. "I am ready." The queen smiled again. "Good. Tomorrow, a new era begins." As the night deepened, Jara felt a mix of hope and fear. The future was uncertain, but with the queen's guidance and her own spirit, she believed humanity could shine brighter than ever before. Outside, the stars glittered like promises, and a galaxy waited to be changed. The morning light poured through the tall windows of the alien queen's palace. Jara stood beside the queen as they prepared to address the court. The great hall was filled with nobles, warriors, and diplomats from many worlds. All eyes were on them. The queen's voice rang clear. "Today marks a new beginning. We welcome humanity into our empire, not as outsiders, but as partners." Murmurs spread through the crowd. Some whispered in surprise, others in doubt. Humans were still unknown, and many were unsure if they could be trusted. Jara stepped forward, her heart steady. "I come from Earth, a small planet far from here. My people have faced many challenges, but we have always believed in hope, courage, and friendship. She looked around the hall. We want to share our knowledge and learn from you. Together, we can build a stronger future. A few nobles nodded, but many remained skeptical. After the speech, Jara and the queen met with leaders from different worlds. They discussed plans for trade, science, and peace. Jara suggested new ideas, ways humans had solved problems with teamwork and creativity. Some leaders listened carefully, others resisted, fearing change. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, small changes began. Humans were allowed to visit more worlds. Trade routes opened, and scientists shared discoveries. Jara worked hard to build trust. She visited schools and markets, learning about alien cultures and teaching about Earth. One day, an alien child approached her in a busy market. "Why do you believe in humans?" the child asked. Jara smiled. "Because we never stop trying. Even when things are hard, we keep going." The child nodded thoughtfully. Maybe humans are brave. Jara's heart warmed. This was the change she had hoped for. But challenges remained. Old enemies watched carefully, waiting for a chance to divide the new alliance. Jara and the queen knew they had to stay united. One evening, as the sun set over the palace, the queen turned to Jara. "This alliance is fragile, but it has hope. Together, we can protect it." Jara nodded. "And show the galaxy what humans can do." The stars outside sparkled with promise. A new era was beginning, one where humans and aliens could stand side by side, not as enemies, but as friends. The galaxy was changing. The new alliance between humans and the alien queen's empire was growing stronger every day. Old fears slowly faded, replaced by hope and cooperation. Jara stood on the balcony of the queen's palace, looking out at the stars. She thought about Earth, her home, and the long journey that had brought her here. Around her, the empire buzzed with new energy. Trade ships carried goods between worlds, scientists worked together on inventions, and children from many species learned side by side. The empire was no longer just a place of power, it was a place of possibility. Jara felt proud but knew the work was not done. Many still doubted humanity, and the galaxy was full of dangers. But she believed in people, her people, and their ability to rise. One day, a message arrived from a distant star system. A new threat was growing, a force that could destroy worlds and undo all the progress made. The queen called her advisors, including Jara. "We face a new challenge," the queen said, "but we are stronger together." Jara nodded. "We will face it with the courage and hope that brought us here." The queen smiled. "Good. Humanity's spirit has given me new strength. Together, we will protect the galaxy." Jara looked around the room at the diverse faces, aliens and humans united. It was a moment she would never forget. As preparations began to face the threat, Jara took a deep breath. She thought of the first time she arrived, scared and uncertain. Now, she was a leader, a symbol of unity. Her journey showed the galaxy one truth: humans were more than survivors. They were creators, fighters, and friends. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter than ever. The future was uncertain, but with hope and unity, humanity's rise had only just begun. Eli was not like other boys in his town. While they played sports or watched TV, Eli's eyes were always on the stars. Since he was a little child, he dreamed of one day meeting an alien. Not just any alien, but an alien girl who could be his friend, and maybe even more. He believed that somewhere out there in the huge universe, someone like her was waiting to meet him. Every night, Eli sat by his window with a small telescope. He looked up at the sky, tracing the bright dots that were stars. He imagined what it would be like to travel through space, to visit faraway planets, and to talk to creatures who were very different from humans. His room was full of books about space and science fiction. On his desk, He kept drawings of strange planets and alien life forms, most of them looking kind and beautiful. At school, Eli was quiet. His classmates didn't understand why he cared so much about things they thought were just stories. They laughed at his dream. Aliens aren't real, they said. But Eli did not give up. He knew deep in his heart that meeting an alien girl was not impossible. After school, Eli worked on small inventions. He was good with machines and computers. Sometimes, he built radios and antennas that could reach farther than usual. He hoped to catch a message from space, a signal from someone out there trying to say hello. Every beep and crackle on his homemade radio filled him with hope. One evening, as the sun set and the sky grew dark, Eli sat in his room and turned on his radio. He adjusted the dial carefully. Suddenly, a strange sound came through, a rhythmic pattern of beats. It was unlike anything he had heard before. Eli's heart beat faster. Was this the message he had waited for his whole life? He recorded the signal and began to study it. For hours, he listened and tried to understand. The pattern repeated, almost like a language. Eli felt a thrill he had never felt before. Maybe, just maybe, someone was reaching out to him. The next morning, Eli could barely focus on school. His mind was full of questions. Who sent the signal? Was it from an alien? Could it lead to the meeting he had dreamed about? He decided he must find out. Eli's father noticed his excitement. "What's going on, son?" he asked. Eli smiled and told him about the strange signal. His father was surprised but proud. "You always follow your dreams, Eli. Maybe this is your chance." That night, Eli made a promise to himself. No matter what happened, he would follow the signal. He would find the alien girl he had dreamed about for so long. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, as if encouraging him. Eli was ready. His lifelong dream was about to begin.